Latrobe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for the Environment and Energy. Will the Minister update the House on what the government is doing to ensure that hard-working Australian families have an affordable and reliable energy supply? How does this compare with alternative approaches that would hurt household budgets?
The Minister for Energy and the Environment.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Latrobe for his question and acknowledge that in his electorate he has some of Australia's largest potato and apple processors who need reliable energy and affordable energy. And they are some of the 63,000 employees in Victoria who are working in the food manufacturing sector, whose jobs are now under threat as a result of the rising electricity prices. And recently I met with a delegation of vegetable and dairy manufacturers from Echuca, Shepparton, regional Victoria, some of whom have seen their electricity prices go up more than 50% in the last year alone, Mr Speaker. And that is why we, on this side of the House, want to have an all-of-the-above approach, a non-ideological approach which will see coal and gas continue to play a major role in providing baseload power in Australia as well as we transition to a lower emissions future. Now, we heard yesterday that from those opposite, they have a range of policies which will only drive electricity prices higher and destabilise the system. In fact, the Leader of the Opposition in the Senate thinks one of their main policies is a mongrel and a smokescreen. That's what she thinks of one of their own policies. But we know they've got a 50% renewable energy target by 2030, which Bloomberg Energy Finance has said will require $48 billion of investment, which will inevitably be flowing on to higher prices for consumers. And they also have a policy of wanting the forced closure of coal-fired power stations. Now, the Leader of the Opposition is very excited about putting on a high-vis vest and going and having a photo on a work site. But will the Leader of the Opposition have the courage to go to the member for Shortland's electorate, to Vales Point, and tell the 300 workers there at the coal-fired power station that your policy wants to put them out of the work? Will the Leader of the Opposition have the guts
Member
to
for
go
Shortland
to the Latrobe
will cease
Valley
interjecting.
after the closure of Hazelwood and say to the workers of Yallourn, the 500 workers of Yallourn, that you have a policy which will put them out of work? Mr Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition should heed the words of his former union, the AWU, Ben Davis, the current Victorian Secretary, who said, and I quote, "You cannot
The Deputy
run
Prime Minister,
heavy industry
Deputy Prime
without
Minister,
reliable,
Deputy Prime,
plentiful and
the
cheap
Minister will
electricity."
resume his seat. The Minister will resume his seat. The member for Shortland and the Deputy Prime Minister will cease interjecting. The Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. This is what the head of the AWU in Victoria has said. You cannot run a heavy industry without reliable, plentiful, cheap electricity. The rush away from coal and gas-fired electricity power stations to renewables is crucifying hundreds of thousands of manufacturing workers. We say to the Leader of the Opposition, you don't have the guts to drop your policy, you don't have the courage to defend your policy, but don't sacrifice manufacturing workers on the altar of ideology.